Ja, takole, vse se vidi, ne? Super. Um, Lepo pozdravljeni, moje ime je Ema Otavnik, prihajam iz društva Ekologi brez meja, kjer smo tudi danes organizirali tole okroglo mizo, ko upam, da vas bo vse navdihnila za malo boljši svet. Sicer ta okrogla miza je organizirana v okviru projekta Klopčič sprememb, ki ga trenutno izvajamo. Naj vas v tej točki povabim, mogoče, če bo koga zanimalo, v sklopu tega projekta januarja organiziramo tudi še en video natečaj in bomo iskali najboljši video prav na temo hitre mode in so posebej vabljeni mladi, da sodelujejo in na koncu bo tudi ustvarjalec najboljšega videa prejel 2 vstopnici za junijski koncert oziroma 10. obletnico Joker Outov in to fanpit, pa še za generalko, tako da res super vstopnice. Tako da vas zdaj povabim k sodelovanju in pa mogoče danes potem najdete kakšen navdih za ta video. Tako, danes bo tole predavanje potekalo v angleščini. Skozi celotno predavanje lahko v chat, se pravi v pogovor, pišete vaša vprašanja in jih bomo na koncu seveda tudi odgovorili. Naše govorke sta iz Čila pa iz Indije, tako da bomo probali v angleščini tole vse skupaj izvesti. Na koncu, po predavanju, boste vsi na mail tudi dobili eno anketo in bi vas res lepo povabila, če jo lahko izpolnite. Ta anketa je spet naša obveznost projektna, kjer moramo pač zbirati neke določene podatke, nič takega, zelo kratko minutna anketa, tako da bi bili zelo veseli, če boste tudi to izpolnili. Tisti pa, ki ste danes v šoli, ker vem, da jih je vas kar nekaj in poslušate naše predavanje preko razrednega pouka, bi pa lepo prosila vaše učitelje oziroma mentorje, da izpolnijo še en obrazec, zato da bojo zabeležili v bistvu, koliko se vas nahaja v razredu in to, ker moramo spet te podatke poročati. Takole. Tako, no, danes bojo z nami, kakor sem že rekla, gospa Romina Ignacija, ki prihaja iz organizacije Desierto Vestido iz Čila. Tam se ukvarjajo predvsem z Tam se ukvarjajo predvsem z v bistvu tekstilnimi odpadki, kjer se je v njihovi puščavi, v Atakami, v bistvu nabralo ogromno odlagališče tekstilnih odpadkov. In pa Mona iz organizacije Hasarudala iz Indije, ki pa dela direktno z waste pickerji, se pravi pobiralci tamkajšnjih smeti. Vemo, da je tam to kar velik problem. Tako da v bistvu bo preko njihovih zgodb pokazala, v bistvu, kaj tekstilni odpadki tam povzročajo. Zdaj, najprej za začetek nekaj malega o nas. V tej točki bom presedlala na angleščino, tako da upam, da me boste razumeli. Če imate kakršnokoli vprašanje, pa kar se zglasite v chatu. Okay, so for start, just a little bit about us. I know most of you probably know us from our cleanup campaigns from 2012 and 2018, when we organized the biggest cleanup actually in world's history. Till this day, we hold the Guinness World Record for the amount of people that participated in a single day, and we are very proud of that. But very quickly, we came to realize that we cannot just pick up the waste, but we have to do something about preventing the waste from even happening. In our country, this is a lucky situation, as I've come to find out. So yeah, we do a lot of stuff on prevention, and so we work with municipalities, events, hotels, restaurants, businesses, and help them in managing their waste. We are especially specialized in plastic, in food waste, and in textiles. So we did. Oh. So what is the textile industry? Even such a big problem? Why are we all here today? We believe it is one of the biggest environmental problems we face, though it is often overlooked in the media, which focuses more on plastics and food waste, which is also a very important topic. But textiles are a problem because there are actually very few systemic solutions like there are, let's say, for food waste. Of course, over all of these years, we have gained significant knowledge and experience in textiles, which is why we continue working in this field. This project is primarily focused on young people who are especially targeted by fast fashion today. So we hope that today's roundtable will kind of shed light and inspire young people to make changes in how they shop, how they view clothes, and so on. So back when we organized this project Očistimo Slovenijo, we also ran our first fashion shows, which were made from plastic packaging, but still. This project naturally evolved into tekstilnica, where we organized over 90 clothing swaps. We saved more than 6 tons of clothes from ending up in a landfill. At the same time, second-hand exchanges were considered pretty exotic back then. Second-hand clothes were a bit of a taboo, a bit of like, oh, is this for the poor? Are these clothes dirty? Stuff like this. So in the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of progress in this area. Today, second-hand shops are very popular in Slovenia, primarily in Ljubljana. There's a specific group of young people who really love them, and so we see that it's going upwards. And then we approached fast fashion maybe more research focused. We conducted a study on the state of the textile sector in Slovenia, and we were looking at imports, exports, production. One of the key statistics remains. Each of us discards around 12.3 kilograms of clothing per year. That's the data from 2020, but it still is true, and maybe now it's even more. And some kind of a surviving aspect of this project is a second-hand clothes day, dan v rabljenih oblačilih, as we say it in Slovenia. And in this day, we encourage individuals to dress up in second-hand clothes and take pictures of themselves and post it online. And on this exact day, also a lot of schools and businesses and organizations participate and organize clothing swaps and repair shops, and kind of bringing this topic closer to people. And today we work on this topic not only through this project, Klopčič Sprememb. We have another project called Stikt, which is happening in Bled, where we, let's say, organized a clothing swap with the mayors there. So like the mayors brought their clothes. So we're really focusing for the people, the decision-making people, to be a part of this and to show how this should be done. And of course, we organize the reuse festivals, a bunch of lectures, team building activities, and stuff like this on the textile use. So we are very active in this field. So, yeah, why do we have such a problem? It's a very big problem. Sadly, we have too much of everything. Each year, over 100 billion garments are produced. This is 14 per person. It is said that if the textile industry stopped today, we could clothe everybody in the world for 5 times. This is, I mean, the full closet. So even if we stopped today, it would still be enough. But sadly, it just keeps on going non-stop. And why is it so sad? Is because 30% of all of these clothes are never sold. And this is really where you can see the hyperproduction, which logically leads to huge amounts of waste, 92 million tons per year exactly. And it's projected to rise in the next 5 years to 143 million tons. This is exponential growth, and if it continues, and also, although we do have ideas on how to limit it, there are no large systemic solutions. You know, for comparison, recycling exists for plastic, but less than 10% of plastic is recycled. So it remains a problem, and this specific data that every second 1 truckload of textile waste is dumped is a lot to think about. You know, just in the last minute that I was talking, 60 truckloads of waste were dumped. So simply too much of everything, and there is something that we have to do about it. So where does all this textile then end up? Yes, 73% of it ends up in incinerations, so burning up, or in different landfills. 12% is recycled, but not recycled as you imagine, but it's kind of downcycled. So it's made into isolation materials, and, you know, just stuff that is not used primarily as clothing. Only 1% of it makes it into new clothes. And why is this such a problem to recycle clothes? Is if everybody today would look at their the little papers, you know, that you have on your t-shirt, which say what materials are your shirt made from, you could see that there's a bunch of different materials. Rarely we just see one, cotton maybe, but we see 3 or more. And it's very hard to separate these different materials. And then it is even financially not viable to do this. So nobody really does this. And yeah, so we can just say, oh, it's gonna recycle. It's probably not. And yes, the greenhouse gas emissions from clothing and footwear contribute from around 8 to 10%. So it's a very, very big contributor to climate change. Even though a t-shirt might cost as much as a load of bread these days, the environmental impact is huge. This is the Aral Sea from the above, and it is drained. Why is it drained? It was drained for cotton plantations. So, you know, the one t-shirt demands 2,700 liters of water, which is a lot. And so, of course, they have to find the water sources somewhere. And this is just one of the consequences of this, where people have drained a beautiful lake or sea, as we say it. Yeah, so 2,700 liters of water is actually what a person drinks in the 2 years. A very much, a large amount of pesticide is used just to create one t-shirt, and heavy metals, different dyes and chemicals. thousands and thousands of different chemicals. Even the energy and carbon footprint is very big. And what's especially astounding to me are the kilometers traveled, as we see here, from 8 to 15,000 kilometers. Every garment or parts of this garment travel to us. So it's they make a long, long way before they actually reach us in the store. Yeah, so what's another environmental consequence is we need a lot of surface area, to plant the cotton. So for an average European citizen, this is 400 square meters of surface area. It's 9 cubic meters of water, is almost 400 kilograms of different stuff that you need to produce just for your clothes. So it's the numbers are really, really big. It's very hard to imagine when I say it like this, but I hope I'm painting a picture that is maybe more understandable. Okay, so now we're gonna watch a video. We're not gonna watch the whole video because it's long. I will paste the link to your chat so you can watch it alone later. But for now, let's just watch maybe the first part.
Consider the classic white t-shirt. Annually, we sell and buy 2 billion t-shirts globally, making it one of the most common garments in the world. But how and where is the average t-shirt made, and what's its environmental impact? Clothing items can vary a lot, but a typical t-shirt begins its life on a farm in America, China, or India, where cotton seeds are sown, irrigated, and grown for the fluffy bolls they produce. Self-driving machines carefully harvest these puffs. An industrial cotton gin mechanically separates the fluffy bolls from the seeds, and the cotton lint is pressed into 225-kilogram bales. The cotton plants require a huge quantity of water and pesticides. 2,700 liters of water are needed to produce the average t-shirt, enough to fill more than 30 bathtubs. Meanwhile, cotton uses more insecticides and pesticides than any other crop in the world. These pollutants can be carcinogenic, harm the health of field workers, and damage surrounding ecosystems. Some t-shirts are made of organic cotton, grown without pesticides and insecticides, but organic cotton makes up less than 1% of the 22.7 million metric tons of cotton produced worldwide. Once the cotton bales leave the farm, textile mills ship them to a spinning facility, usually in China or India, where high-tech machines blend, card, comb, pull, stretch, and finally twist the cotton into snowy ropes of yarn called slivers. Then yarns are sent to the mill, where huge circular knitting machines weave them into sheets of rough grayish fabric, treated with heat and chemicals until they turn soft and white. Here, the fabric is dipped into commercial bleaches and azo dyes, which make up the vivid coloring in about 70% of textiles. Unfortunately, some of these contain cancer-causing cadmium, lead, chromium, and mercury. Other harmful compounds and chemicals can cause widespread contamination when released as toxic wastewater in rivers and oceans. Technologies are now so advanced in some countries that the entire process of growing and producing fabric barely touches a human hand, but only up until this point. After the finished cloth travels to factories, often in Bangladesh, China, India, or Turkey, human labor is still required to stitch them up into t-shirts. Intricate work that machines just can't do. This process has its own problems. Bangladesh, for example, which has surpassed China as the world's biggest exporter of cotton t-shirts, employs 4.5 million people in the t-shirt industry, but they typically face poor conditions and low wages. After manufacture, all those t-shirts travel by ship, train, and truck to be sold in high-income countries, a process that gives cotton an enormous carbon footprint. Some countries produce their own clothing domestically, which cuts out this polluting stage. But generally, apparel production accounts for 10% of global carbon emissions. And it's escalating. Cheaper garments and the public's willingness to buy boosted global production from 1994 to 2014 by 400% to around 80 billion garments each year. Finally, in a consumer's home, the t-shirt goes through one of the most resource-intensive phases of its lifetime. In America, for instance, the average household does nearly 400 loads of laundry per year, each using about 40 gallons of water. Washing machines and dryers both use energy, with dryers requiring 5 to 6 times more than washers. This dramatic shift in clothing consumption over the last 20 years, driven by large corporations and the trend of fast fashion, has cost the environment, the health of farmers, and driven questionable human labor practices. It's also turned fashion into the second largest polluter in the world after oil. But there are things we can.
No, takole, kar pretty horrifying to watch, but also very, very important. So, who actually makes our clothes? Well, you've seen that the working conditions worldwide are often pretty catastrophic. You know, people live on minimal wage or much less than minimal wage, which is insufficient for basic living. They work long hours, up to 16 hours per day, including the weekends, including holidays. They are exposed to harmful chemicals, poorly ventilated factories, fire, building collapse risks. It's a very tragic kind of environment to be working in, but we have to realize that these people not only don't have unions, don't have representatives who would shield them like we do. They face discrimination, sexual harassment, and a lot of these people are also children, which is the saddest part. More than 500,000 of the people are forced to work on cotton fields, and 60% of the children involved in forced labor work exactly in the textile industry. It's very sad to hear the data that there's a lot of suicides in India. Just in 2019, 42,000 cotton farmers committed suicide. So yeah, the conditions are less than perfect, and there is something to do about it. This is part of the project called Fashion Revolution Week, which is every April, and they make sure to highlight these stories, and this picture is part of this project, and you can see the personal words of this woman that is actually just 33 years old, and almost her age. And if I think that we share, you know, the same lifetime, but hers is much, much more difficult, and she actually looks, I think, a bit older, and all of these people do because of the very hard conditions that they work in. Okay, this is a very, very good video, also very short, that I wanted to show you. And it's a Norwegian documentary film where they sent different students to go in the Asian countries and work with these factory workers just to see firsthand how it is. And their reactions are priceless. And I really invite you to watch the whole film.
Mange som dapper her hvert år, da? Good morning.
Nei, det er ikke ord for det engang. Det er så utrolig uttalt.
Når du begynner å intervjue en person, så er det jo akkurat like mye verdt som jeg er. Jeg klarer ikke mer. Hva er det?
Back to work now. Hello. Hello. Go back to work now.
Evo, kar zanimivo, ne? Sweatshop se imenuje, če bi ga kdo rad pogledal. Okay, so there of course are solutions to any problem, and this is one of them, but what are these solutions? A lot of companies offer us solutions these days that seem to be working, but when we look at the reality of it, it's actually some form of greenwashing. For example, a lot we can see today by, let's say, Adidas and Nike, that they are recycling plastic bottles into running shirts. And this does not solve the underlying issue. 7 to 10% of our clothing is made from plastic, which is fossil fuels. And Russia is the largest supplier of fossil fuels for the polyester production in India. So we all know what is happening in Russia or Ukraine. And so this is a very sad data. And we have to know that plastic clothes emit microplastics into our environment. 1,900 microfibers per wash of a single garment. And I am sure many of you have come to know until this day that microplastic is bad and that it is everywhere. It can be found in every part of our body, even our blood, and it's causing all sorts of health issues, different diseases and hormonal imbalances and stuff like this. So it's a very big problem. So we cannot just, close our eyes and say again, oh, it's just recycled. Plastic is plastic. Oil is oil. So it's not a solution to be celebrated, but it's just kind of masking the problems. And often we can see in the big department stores like H&M and Primark these bins for used clothes. And this is just another way of marketing for them to, for you to think, oh, look, they're caring about our environment. But actually, they did a study on this. They put trackers inside the clothes and threw it in the bins. And they saw where these clothes were traveling and what happened to them. And a lot of them ended up in a landfill. So it's not how they say it is. And we actually had a project where we asked these big department stores, what do they do with the clothes? And they said it was a business secret. And so we immediately knew, okay, if it's a secret, then it's probably not something good, because if it would be good, then they would probably advertise it like heavily. Yes, but more on these waste dumping sites will be our next guest, Romina, who is an expert and comes from this exact area. Okay, So, what are the right solutions? It's really unsexy solutions. It's nothing big. It's just for you to be buying clothes that are quality made, that you buy just what you really, really like, what you need, that you look at the materials, that you buy as much locally as you can, that you repair your clothes, that you swap them, that you buy second-hand clothes, it's just the old-fashioned logic we had back then, that our grandparents still have. Yeah, so this is it from my side. I will now invite Romina to present her. I can't unshare. Zala?
Ja, ne najdem opcije, da dam jaz.
Aha. Ne, sorry, sem nisem mogla. Sej se je nehal moj zaslon šerata, ne?
Naša.
Ne.
Ker meni kaže, kot da ne šeram. Ok. Bom šla jaz mogoče ven, pa kar naj Romina začne, pa prijem nazaj noter, prav?
Ok, velja.
Velja,
Romina.
hvala.
Hello, Romina. You're here. You can please start the presentation.
Okay. Okay. Hi. I'm gonna share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Also, before start, thank you for your presentation. Was so interesting. And well, I'm Romina Bisquet. I'm representing Desierto Vestido, what means desert, and it is an organization. It is an organization made up of young people from the north of Chile. And before starting, I want to tell you a story about this jacket that I have here. I'm going to show you a little bit. I have this jacket. It's okay. You can see it here, right? I like really so much this jacket. It's a nice jacket, but maybe someone of you gonna recognize this brand. You can see it? No. Yeah, okay. This jacket is an
yes.
Alpinistar. It is a globally recognized company founded in Italy and expanded worldwide from United States. But this jacket was made in China, and I have here in Chile. How this ended up in my hands? Because I didn't buy it in a regular store. I bought this jacket in a street market after someone found it in a landfill similar to the one you can see in this photo. In this video, you can see the magnitude of the landfill in Alto Hospicio. This video is from 2020, and that was one of the first ones we made. We are there like little humans. That is the magnitude. But how did we get here? Before going deeper, it's important to understand the economic, social, and political context behind this situation. In 80s, clothing imports began in Chile. And 30 years later, we start to see clothing landfills in the desert, like the video. But why this happened? Basically, this happens because the regulatory frameworks allow it. Chile imports second-hand clothing, but there are not a specific law that regulate or classify these different type of textiles, and also there are no verification of quality or final destination of them. We have to understand that we are the north of Chile in a free trade zone, which allow and encourage large volumes of clothing to enter the country. And this place is Iquique, and it is if one of the country's entry points. I'm gonna repeat the video to understand like where is Iquique. I'm sorry. Okay, South America, and we are in the north of Chile. All these factors result in Chile becoming a leader in a textile consumption and imports. In 2022, Chile imports 124,000 tons of second-hand clothing and textile, of which 70% they entered through the Iquique Free Trade Zone. And over the past 20 years, clothing consumption has increased 233%, going from an average of 15 garments in 2007 to 70 garments in 2021. And we have a problematic supply chain because the majority of clothing is manufactured in Asia, like my jacket, and then transported and marketed in USA, Europe, and Canada. Then they enter the port of Iquique. You can see in this photo the amount of clothing that arrived. And if you sell only the 20 or 30% of the clothing, you already make a profit. Therefore, it is not necessary to sell the other 70%. So this encourages disposal, and it will likely end up in the desert. Also, it's not a legal obligation to declare what part is sold, donated, or disposed of. And no one is checking whether it was actually reused or simply abandoned in the desert or illegally burned. And now I would like to ask you a question. You can comment in the chat. What would you do with 40,000 tons of clothing? Because we start in 2020 documenting textile landfills in Alto Hospicio, and you can see this photo. I'm gonna show you a little bit more photos. But the point is we start to see this in 2020. And also we realized that textile pollution had several focal points, and this lead to soil and air pollution, and therefore have impacts on the surrounding flora and fauna. It's not just one big landfill. There are different points, like you can see in this image. So in 2021, we became aware of the magnitude of this problem. here you can see the size of this mountain of clothing. We are here, and this is the mountain. But in 2022, we start to raise awareness about this issue. We began to see more fires and more fires used to hide the disposal of clothing. Then a cycle of clothing disposal and burning began. Up until now, the landfill has become an incineration zone. So before we see the big mountain of clothing, and now we can see an incineration zone. So we need to understand that this phenomenon is not happening in Paris, but in Alto Hospicio, a territory where socially and economically vulnerable, and this is not a coincidence. And therefore, there are a problem. The problem is much more complex, because in Alto Hospicio there are street markets where many people make a living by selling second-hand clothing. The name is Quebradilla, if you want to search. Here I want to read this, because we in the organization we speak a lot about this. So environmental justice as a driver of innovation in Tarapacá, or region where is located Iquique and Alto Hospicio, we have the opportunity to lead this transition, developing models that distribute benefits and responsibilities more equitable. Sorry. So we try to call to action. First, extended producer responsibility and actual importer investment in local capacity for transformation and just transition, origin classification and traceability system from ports, and finally, recognition of environmental damage and remediation of affected sites. Every garment we rescue from the desert is an act of resistance. Every person who changes their consumption habit is part of the solution. Thank you so much for your attention. I don't know if you can see if there are questions in the chat.
Yes, I forward one question to you and Bastian privately, so you can prepare an answer, maybe, but other questions aren't yet in the chat. So if anyone has any... Okay, Yaka has a question. Do you see it in the chat, Romina?
Yeah, I can see the chat.
Okay.
Maybe Bastian is here. Bastian, ¿estás aquí? So you mentioned textiles.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everyone. My name is Bastian, co-founder of Desierto Vestido. And the question is, in Spanish?
Sí, que había mencionado que se había importado como ropa de segunda mano. Entonces,
Sí.
¿cuánto se estima que de eso es realmente reutilizable?
No hay una cifra exacta, pero sí lo que se estima es que cerca del más del 60% de lo que se importa termina siendo descartado o incinerado en el desierto muy cercano al Alto Hospicio.
¿Puedo dejar de... I gonna stop my screen? So, Bastian says that there are not exactly number about that, but we can estimate the over of 60% of import clothing is discarded in the desert or maybe burned. I don't know if that responds your question again.
And there's another question. Did you maybe contact the big companies like H&M, Old Navy, or Shein about the problem or about their responsibility with this? Did they answer maybe, or what was their response, if there was any response?
¿Entendiste, Basti?
No.
Si es que no hemos contactado con algunas de las grandes empresas, así como Chain, Navi, etcétera, para ver qué es lo que dicen al respecto,
Sí,
como si tienen alguna responsabilidad o algo así.
sí, de hecho hemos conversado con empresas como Chain, por ejemplo, y entre otras como Adidas, por lo menos acá en Chile. Y bueno, Chain dice que la ropa que llega al vertedero eh, es ropa que proviene del consumidor, no directamente de su fábrica. Y muchas de las, bueno, y la parte de otras empresas con las que conversamos, por ejemplo, como Adidas, nos comentaban que ellos tienen mecanismos de trazabilidad, por lo menos en Chile, pero lo que no entendían es que esta ropa provenía desde otros países y la trazabilidad se perdía, en el fondo, no, y ahí no tenían explicación para ese fenómeno.
Okay, Bastian says that we speak with some enterprise or brands like Chain or Adidas here in Chile, but Chain, sorry, Chain says that that clothes that this textile is not from their factories, it's from the consumers. So that was the answer of Chain. And Adidas told us that they have a traceability mechanism in Chile, but this textile become from other countries. So in that point, they can't do that traceability.
Okay, thank you. There was another question. Do you know who starts these fires in the desert? Who stands behind the fires? You said that more and more fires were started in 2022 when you started to talk about this problem.
Preguntan si es que sabemos quiénes son los que inician los incendios, porque después empezó a aumentar con más fuego, como quién está detrás de estos incendios.
El autor intelectual de la incineración textil son las personas que comercializan estas prendas y que no logran comercializar estas prendas, ya sea vinculado a la industria de la importación o de las ferias itinerantes, pero no necesariamente son quienes perpetúan el hecho o realizan la quema. Al contrario, ellos contratan a otras personas que viven en los mismos vertederos para que ellos incineren estas prendas y todo tipo de residuos en general.
Okay, Bastian says the people who start this fire is people who commercialize this garment, and then they are unable to sell them. So the people who sell the clothes in a store or a street market, when they can't sell them, they start the fire, but no, they in person. They hired another people who live near the landfill to set the fires.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will save this last question, and maybe Bastian and Romina, you can have the time to answer it and translate it. And we can continue with Mona from India. But still, if you have any questions, just write them in the chat and we will answer them when Mona finishes with her presentation. So, Mona,
Okay.
welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me here today.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to help if there's anything specific you need.
So I was just using the translations because I could not understand most of the Spanish words and language. Give me a minute, guys. I'll just...
We can't see your presentation.
Okay.
Okay, let's give
Is
her
it
a minute.
visible now?
No, it's just you and white background.
Okay. Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, great.
Yes. So, hi guys, my name is Mauna and I am from India, based out of Bangalore, South India. So, I work for Hasiru Dala. It is a non-profit organization. So, our major focus is on the social justice and inclusivity of waste pickers and the community, waste picking community. So we work with different verticals, but it is all in a circular loop of in and around waste pickers itself. So we have an health vertical, we have housing verticals, we have social protection verticals, and all the well-being aspects we take care for the waste pickers. Amongst which we also work as a material recovery vertical, in which we try to recover plastics and textile waste. So when we are recovering plastics and textile waste, we also look forward of bringing entrepreneurs from the domain experts. So when we term it as domain experts, we mean waste pickers. So as they are from generational wise waste pickers here in India, we term them as domain experts. So yeah. So these are the couple of initiatives that we have done under textile. Also, we look on an entrepreneurial model, as I said. There is a waste picker who has turned to be an entrepreneur now. So I'll take you through our journey, how we have addressed the textile challenges here in Bangalore, especially in India. So back then we were in Bangalore, so whatever I'm addressing, we work out of Bangalore in specifically, that is a part of South India. So here the situation was back then the waste pickers were not identified for the work they were doing. They were the people who were collecting the waste and cleaning the places here and cleaning the cities also. But they were not recognized for the work they were doing, and also they did not have identity cards to show up that who they are and what work they are doing. It was in 2010 back then, and HD, that is Hasrudala, which means Green Force. We work closely with the local government here, asking that the waste pickers need to be recognized in the society, and that acceptance towards the society is much more needed, in which people will also try to understand the dynamics of waste only if they try to understand the waste picker and his journey in the waste. So we were successful to get an identity card, and also we tried approaching getting a dry waste collection center here in Bangalore. So we closely work around 33 to 34 dry waste collection center here in Bangalore, where waste pickers are the operators who runs that facility, collecting the waste, sorting it, and taking it to the further processing. So Bangalore is one of the metropolitan city here in India, where there's larger amount of migrants and a larger amount of population here in this place. So there is a huge tons of waste being collected. So here, like per month, there's 5,000 tons of textile waste collected here in Bangalore. I mean, that has been generated here in Bangalore. And unfortunately, we are, as Indians, we are not very much successful enough of collecting or recovering those many waste. So once we got the textile waste, we were not very much assured of what we should do out of this textile waste. Few of the categories we were aware that it has to go to it has to go to some resale markets, and most of the things we were trying that avoiding sending it to landfill. But at one point we started sending into cement factories for incinerations, but they stopped at one point because larger amount of quantity was going in there. So we decided that this has to find something or the other loop for further processing. Also, including with this, we also look, as I said, livelihoods of waste pickers. So we always try bringing some sort of an initiative where a small amount has been generated for them, and they have this upgradation in their living scale. So then we tried making a couple of R&Ds. We learned a couple of things about textiles. We did a couple of R&Ds. Half the materials are coming here, especially in Bangalore, in India. And we realized that there is no source segregation happening, which means that the citizens here, the residents, are not aware of textile waste. So they tried dumping it with other dry waste and giving it to us. So in Bangalore, we collect the waste in a different way. So dry waste and textile waste, we collect it separately. And the government, the local government, collect the wet waste and the medi waste separately. So the waste pickers were allowed to collect the dry waste and the textile waste. We started giving awareness and IEC campaigns to the residents, telling how you have to discard if suppose you're discarding your textile waste, let us know how are you going to discard the textile waste. So that's how today, last year in 2024, we were successful enough of bringing up one textile recovery facility, which is led by one of the waste picker. Her name is Indumati. She was a waste picker who has transitioned now into an entrepreneur. I'll take you through the journey of what we do. So during the implementation time of textiles here, we found a couple of challenges. So one major challenge was the low quality. So Indians, we have a culture that we tend to give it, if the elder one has used a clothes, we tend to give it in a generational wise handover happens, which eventually loses a lot of quality of used clothes. And suppose if we are giving it to any recyclers who deals with post-consumer waste, then they do not accept it. They deny this material that we are being giving. So our major focus is on post-consumer waste as we collect it from the households and some commercial spaces. So quality was the biggest challenge for us. Adding on to that, because the source segregation was also not happening and people were not aware of the textile waste, the quality was one of the biggest challenge for us. And as I said, the limited public awareness also. So people were very much aware of plastics and plastic waste, different types of plastics and all the circularity of plastics. But when it comes to textiles, back then, 2 years back the lane, they were not even in a position to analyze that textile was a waste and there's a way to discard it, or there's a way to give the textile waste for further processing. So we found DWCCs, what we have right now. I'll show you the couple of pictures. So in infrastructure way, it is not well structured where we can store the textile waste and all these things. So infrastructure was one of the challenge for us. For the storage of textile waste, has all the dry waste and textile waste was brought into the dry waste collection center. It was difficult for us to store the textile waste along with other waste. And again, this is market linkage is one thing that is an ongoing problem right now. In India, we have couple of recyclers who deal with post-consumer waste, and the main hubs are Panipat and Tirupur. So majorly they focus on making yarns and making doormats, all these things. And they also use it as bed fillers, furniture fillers, floor cleaners, and all these things. So where there are very limited access of markets, where most of the local markets are not yet explored or they have not come to the limelight yet for us. So market is one of the biggest challenge. And as all of us know, in textiles, the EPR is yet to come, right? So there is no proper policies or advocacies on textiles, which is another biggest reason for larger productions and larger amount of disposals and all these things. And another major focus is that invisibility of waste pickers in this textile value chain. As I said, they are the domain experts. So they are the people who is collecting from the grassroots level. So most of them are well versatile in this industry. They understand the compositions. They know what kind of materials they have and hold of local markets. They understand where they have to, who are their consumers, how they have to dispose the textile waste and all these things. Moreover, their main agenda or the main vision they have is that none of the material that is coming to them in their dry waste collection center will reach landfill. So that is one huge promise the Indian waste pickers have done, and they've been really doing a great job in that. And logistic constraints also, as I said, Panipat and Tirupur is very far from Bangalore. So it will cost like triple of the amount economically for us. It is not feasible to send the materials to Panipat or Tirupur. So logistic is one of the constraints also. And the sustainability of thrift store and repair models. We do follow a little bit of thrifting and repair models. Again, most of the people are not into thrifting culture and they do not accept rewearable materials and repair materials. Again, it is analyzed based on the places where the materials are sold. So if the same material is kept up in a very well-structured shops or malls, then people acceptance is in a different level. But if the same materials are kept up on the street side, or if it is sold by some marginalized community people, then the acceptance is way more different. So this is also one of the challenges that we have seen as of now. And as I said, these are the major challenges we saw in last year. So this is one of the shopping street in Bangalore called Commercial Street. So it's a tailoring hub where 400 plus tailors stitch here. It's a designer place where a lot of stitching and all these things happens. Again, they are not aware of the waste management, how they have to dispose things. So this is the condition. They throw out the waste along with other wet waste. The wastes are mixed out, and there's a lot of blind spots created in this area. So we have worked closely with them, doing a couple of surveys and understanding why this situation is there in the commercial street. And we were successful enough of recovering all these waste. And right today, we have totally cleared out all the blind spots in this area, and people are very much aware of textile waste. So now they segregate the textile waste, especially the cut pieces. So these cut pieces, if we recover also to sort this tailoring waste, it's a huge challenge for us. So if source segregation happens for these kind of materials, it is much more easier for us for further processing. So giving all the IEC awarenesses and all these things, now we have cleared out all the blind spots here in Bangalore, the commercial streets. And basically, this is how we function. So we have planned the project and the model in a way that the DWCC, that is a dry waste collection center, it has vehicles. So we closely work with 16 dry waste collection centers, which is operated by 16 waste pickers. So they have sorters, drivers, and helpers. So the sorters and drivers collect it from door to door. Basically, it's a household collections they do, and then they give it to the dry waste collection center. So once the material reaches the dry waste collection center, there the primary sorting happens. When I say the primary sorting, since it's a household materials, we tend to get a lot of contaminants, maybe our underwears, lingeries, that cannot go for further processing. Some part of the textile waste is for the reject that we cannot take it for further and processing. So they do this primary sorting, and remaining materials, they send it to the textile recovery facility. So here we also have given them an on-call service. So any resident all over Bangalore can give us a call, and we would arrange for the pickup, and we would collect all these materials and we dump it at TRF. So this is one of the major way how we function. So once the material reaches DWCC, so we follow a hub and spoke model. So as I said, 16 DWCCs are our spokes, and the TRF is our hub. But this model is only a small part of Bangalore, yet we need like 40 to 50 TRF like this in Bangalore to recover all the textile waste completely. So once the material reaches DWCC, we have trained the waste pickers in all these aspects. We have given them quality training, making them understand what is reusable category, recyclable category, downcyclable, and color-wise sorting. So basically the color-wise sorting, we have got it from our recyclers here in Bangalore. So their requirement is color-wise sorting. So we put this as the tertiary level of sorting here. and disruptor removal also. So if they are recycling, they do not want any buttons or any other disruptors in the clothing. So we have to remove all these things and give it to them. So all these minute trainings on textiles, we have given it to our waste pickers. So they are, in a way, they can sort it and give it to the other further processing. So these are the major 4 categories that we look on to. Rejects are something, as I told you, the doormats, the used doormats and other our innovations and all these things falls under reject waste for us. And that will go to RDF. And it is none of the material that is reaching the facility is going to landfill. So these are the major categories that we focus on. And if you could see the background, that is the categories, like we had sorted like 150 colors, color-wise sorting once. It was a personal interest of one of the waste picker, Indumati. So she came forward and she sorted all alone with her sorters with 150 colors of textile waste that we have collected. And our materials have reached recyclers doing color-wise sorting, disruptor removals. So as you can see, the yarns and the 2 types of yarns, the felt. So these are the materials made out of the waste that we have sent to them. So this is majorly on the focus of color-wise and cotton dominant, polyester dominant materials. So this is one of the recyclers that we have connected and we give them the materials. And downcycling, as you can see, the fillers, we have given it to the filler market. So here the downcycling material, when I say it is very much specific to colored and printed clothings, and also small cut pieces, tailoring, sewing machine. We use a lot of sewing machines here in India. Like there's lots of customization, fashionable dresses coming in. So all these cut pieces of those designer ways, everything we recover and we give it to the bed fillers or any other filler products. And then the mat, you guys can see, that's a purely the downcyclable material that we had sent to Panipat, and they have made mat out of a product, out of the material that we have given them. And the mops also, here in the local market, they collect the materials and they make it as floor wipes and all. So these are a couple of interventions in the market. And from our side, we found that the textile waste that is coming to the facility is very vast. And the categories it has is so different. Like every day there's new something coming up due to fast fashion. And we are trying to figure out something or the other loop for the further processing. So one such thing is this upcycling initiative. So as we are collecting from the households and apartments and all these places, we tend to get a lot of bed covers, window covers, and all such things. So those are actually a very good materials where we can upcycle it. So we upcycle the product. For upcycling also, we have onboarded like a self-help group women. Again, we have focused on the waste picking community women who has small infants in their houses where they cannot go out and work. So they want to have some sort of a livelihood in their living space. So we tried giving them the training for tailoring and then for upcycling. So they make all these keychains, bags, and they have a small business as their group is named as Needles and Threads. So they make a small livelihood out of this. So some sort of materials fall into this upcycling initiative as well. And we also have a thrift store in our TRF, that is Textile Recovery Facility. So here, as I told you all, we collect from apartments and other living places. So the situation here is that because of the larger population and there is like all levels of people live here, like the elite ones, the marginalized community. So when we collect from the huger apartments, the material that falls in are most of the materials are not used. So the clothings will be tagged. So the reason will be different. Few of them they declutter their wardrobes and they give it off. Few will be very frequent with the shopping and they get lot of they are into a lot of clothing shoppings and things. And one of the major reason I feel right now is that um, these materials are very much affordable currently, and and it is very much easier for people to just procure these materials. So a lot of tagged materials, lot of good rewearable materials falls in. So we try encouraging sustainable fashion. We ask them to take up and start with reusable materials, start rewearing these the thrifted clothes. So we encourage the thrifting culture where our major focus is on the younger generation now, the college students and the school students as such. So it is much easier to understand, and it is much easier to make them understand about thrifting culture and what is it, how the sustainable fashion goes. But the little bit the older generation people here, they if they are not into sustainability, if they are not into sustainable culture, they do not tend to understand the thrifting and the thrift culture that we hold. So, due to the various reasons, maybe the health concerns and all those things. But as said, we receive like 20 to 30% of tagged materials that is they have not used it into the facility. So we try keeping up a thrift pop-up stores. So this is one interventions that we have. So I was talking about TRF, that is Textile Recovery Facility. So this is owned and this is operated by Indumati. So as I told, she was a waste picker. She has transitioned into an entrepreneur. Now under her, there are 89 workers, employees working. And she is a very inspirational lady who came forward. She's not a she do not know to read and write. She's not illiterate, but she understands the dynamics of waste and how it has to fall into the circularity chain, and how I have to take forward this business model, all these things in a much more better way than a normal people, I guess. Like that's my personal experience working with her. So till date, we have recovered like 349 plus metric tons of textile waste over 1 year. Like last year, 2024, August, we started TRF in a vision of creating an entrepreneur, and we were successful in that, and also diverting the textile waste that has been dumped into the landfill. So we recovered 349 plus of textile waste from Bangalore. And also the dry waste collection centers that I was talking on. You guys can see a couple of pictures. So this is a current situation in our dry waste collection centers where they collect textile waste and also the other dry waste also falls in. So these are a couple of our operators who work closely with us with textiles. So they collect the textile waste separately in a bag along with the dry waste vehicle. Again, we tried keeping a separate vehicle for textile collection for each house, for each wards. That each ward, when I say, it contains of like 12,000 households. So, but that was economically not feasible for the waste pickers. And then we tried keeping a separate bag in the collection vehicles that goes every day to each household for the collections. There, when we go, our effort is in a way that from HD, we try interacting with each and every citizens and residents there. trying to give them as much as awareness that we can give and make them understand about the textile waste management challenges. And if you are using the textiles, then make a point that you are responsible while you're disposing it in a right way. So we try giving all these awarenesses to them on the daily basis. And has said till date from DWCC, we have collected like 481 metric tons of textile waste. Altogether, 750 plus metric waste we have diverted from past 4 years. And this is the recognition Indumati got. A lady in the sari, so she's Indumati. So she got an opportunity to represent our work that we are doing regarding textiles. In Bharat Tex, it is one of the biggest expo that happens every year in textile expo that happens every year in India. So this year, she got an opportunity to represent her work and this textile waste management in front of our honorable president. And he has brought this into limelight while we have a Monkey Bath event happens every month. Monthly once we have this thing where our president talks about the upcoming challenges and the new initiatives and all these things. So he has addressed about the textile waste and how the waste pickers needs to be included in this value chain and all these things in this thing. So this is the overall view of our work, what we do, and how things are coming into our facility, how we have diverted it, and what are the things that we are doing.
Wow.
Wow.
Inspiring. I was just with my mouth open listen to you. I'm guessing there will be questions for sure.
One.
So
Yes, one is already in the chat. You mentioned invisibility and that the government is not collecting textile waste and it is left to waste pickers. Do they get any recognition, legal protection, any support at all from the local or higher governments for their work, besides the one entrepreneur you presented?
Yeah, definitely. There's a support from the local government. In a way that they have given them the dry waste collection centers. So that's a government property. So they have given those places and they've built those infrastructure where they can collect the materials sorted. So there's certain memorandum done with the government from the waste picker side regarding the place that the government has given them. So they can, it's a rent-free space, so they can do the business, they can collect the waste from there and have their small livelihood. Initially, the government was paying them a small margin of remunerations for the vehicle and also for the fuel and for the workers that they have been working on. So these are the small aspects that government has recognized and been supporting them.
Great. Thank you. I have another question. You mentioned door-to-door collection of waste, textile waste and house items in generally. Do you see maybe any behavior change with people? Do they buy less? Do they care more of their products, or because of this, or not? Because this service door-to-door collection is so accessible, and they think, oh, someone else will take care of my waste or products. Do you think people are getting more aware of what happens with their things that when they don't use it anymore?
So definitely there's a lot of behavioral change as we have observed. So behavioral change, when I say in terms of their disposing of waste and the procurement, we are not in a position to stop it because there are very competitive industries and companies here all over the world that has been very much uh, like very much into the customers, like trying to get a lot of customers and all these things. So there are tactics and strategies with that. We are not in a position to compete there, but we do ask them to segregate it in a better way. So as I showed you all, there would be something or the other further processing happening if they segregate it in a better way. Along with that, as we collect, we have a lot of tagged materials and a very good rewearable materials. We try keeping couple of pop-up stores. We try keeping couple of events where we do collection drives simultaneously. We sell all these rewearable categories to the people in more affordable prices. So we have got a lot of luxury brands as well when we collected, and most of the luxury brands that we have collected are not used. They are tagged materials only. So we give them for a very minimum amount, the amount that works out for the waste picker. So that we in that way we try encouraging them to come back and do this thrifting and take this start a rewearable culture in and around their habitat. So we do this, and also we try keeping couple of sorting parties. We try keeping couple of in-house workshops where they make bags, they paint their bags, so they have that personal connection that what they have done. So that art, that crafts and things we try making in. So this way we try to connect with the people and try to bring them into the sustainable aspects.
Great. Thank you for your answer. Does anyone else have any questions, maybe? Or maybe for Romina and Bastian before? I maybe have one more question for you, Mona. Did you scale up this model of door-to-door collection and dry waste collection center to any other cities in other parts of India or just in Bangalore?
So we work with other parts of cities here in Karnataka, that is South India.
Okay.
So there is Hubli and Dharwad, which is South Karnataka. There also we have tried expanding this thing of collecting the textile waste and things. So we have expanded it to 3 to 4 cities here in Karnataka as of now.
Great. Thank you.
Can I ask, we are on the other side of the world today. A lot of young people in schools have been listening to this. And how can we, if we can support you in what you do, what can we do to support this?
So that's a big question, which I had never expected. But the thing here is that there is a lot of import-export thing happening, and the acceptance towards the post-consumer waste and also the acceptance towards the waste pickers and their capabilities are invisible. So when I talk about post-consumer waste, most of the recyclers, they do not prefer post-consumer waste. And right now, there are a couple of very few numbers of recyclers who try blends of both post and pre and making a couple of products. We are knowing them recently, but they are from the generational wise, but they are trying to upgrade their models by mixing this post-consumer waste and all these things. So we are trying to explore the markets where we can send the materials, and there is some R&D work done where the post-consumers can also be mixed up and some recyclable products are made out of these. And coming to the second part is that not only in India, we see a larger vision of waste pickers all over the globe. So our waste pickers have represented themselves in plastic treaty that had happened in Japan, I guess. So I'm not very sure about the place. So I guess it's somewhere in Japan. So sorry, South Korea, some Korean place, I guess. So I'm not very sure with that. But yeah, they had represented in plastic treaties and some big, very bigger events. I feel that the like waste pickers needs to waste picker needs to be embraced for the work they are doing, for being a warriors in this area where they are trying to save the environment. So if you guys, whatever we are doing, whatever the research that we are taking forward regarding the textiles or any kind of plastics or any kind of waste, our request will be like try including our domain experts. Those are the waste speakers. There would be some transition in their lifestyle also, and there would be a huge lot of information and knowledge sharing from their perspective level. So one thing that we have eventually realized that the grassroots level knowledge is much more heavier and much more practically viable for us compared to very much theoretical knowledge. So every day every month we have an expo of 6 to 7 colleges, students coming in, understanding the ground level challenges. Again, they ask the same question: what support do you all need from us? So we tell them like try figuring out the markets, try figuring out the blends of textiles, how we can loop it into the value chain, and also try accepting the waste speakers in this journey. So there would be a transition. So you grow and you also help others also to grow. So this is what we try to ask for.
Oh, thoroughly. Thank you. Maybe the last question for Romina that was posed for you. Did you get the chance to translate it?
The last question in the chat.
Yeah, I sent it to you. The question was, are there facts about who brings waste into Chile? Are these companies, countries? Who sells it?
Can you repeat, please?
Yeah. Okay, so the question was, do you have any information about who brings the waste into Chile? Are these companies? Are these countries? Who sells this waste?
Ok. Basti, ¿estás ahí? ¿Basti? Pregunta si es que ¿cuáles son las empresas, las personas que como que venden esto? ¿Quiénes son las que traen la ropa a Chile? Las que hacen que llegue a Chile. No te ves, estás con la cámara apagada en todo caso. Sorry, I speak to Bastian. I translate the question. Okay, he texted me. So he said that there are different textile imports, around 50 different, we can call enterprise, because in Iquique there are a place, it's a free trade zone, so there are like a mall, so they bring these clothes and a big mountain of clothes, so they start to commercialize these clothes. So that is the thing, because they can sell just the 20 or 30% about this big mountain, and the other and the rest, the 70%, It's just, okay, I have my profit, so I don't care so much about the rest. It's for, I don't need to sell more because I already win. So they're not recognized brand because normally it's local people who have this acquisition or economic acquisition who make the import of clothing.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if that was the question or.
It was not from me, so.
Okay.
Okay, thank you everybody so much. I hope this inspired you to maybe look at your closet in a different way. That the next time you go into a store, you think first and then you buy, and so we can make a better world together. I would like to really thank our two guest speakers today, Romina and Mona. I think your presentations were amazing and inspirational. Yeah, so everybody, thank you for your time. I would really invite you to fill out this form that I sent in the chat. Now, once again, it's just some basic info that we need for this project. And yes, have a nice rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much, Ema, for having us here. And it was very insightful from your end as well. We could understand the other side of the globe. How is it? What are the perspectives of textile waste and things? It was lovely to meet everyone. And thank you guys. Let's hope and let's work together in future. And thank you so much for having us here. HD Hasrudallah as a team. So personally, thank you for having me here in this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.